Gets it in for Trent. 8 seconds left. Nets are up by 4. Swing it. Vanvleet fires. High arcer.
4-game road trip for the New York Knicks as Fred on the inside. Vanvleet will let it fly.
Vanvleet has returned. Malado defense.
Real on him. Fred now puts it on the deck. Slips now. Monster game. Fred, the
3-0, a lot of changes in Chicago, trying to upgrade their run.
Vanvleet clock down to 3. Davion Mitchell staying right with him. Great defense. Vanvleet,
OG Anunoby and Trent Jr.
Hard to the basket, the kick. Vanvleet looks at his feet. And
Worry about Dragic and all that, right? But I tell you what, Nick Nurse, he believes in his kid.
Decent conference this year as his team playing its best basketball.
Back from health and safety protocols, Boucher will check in.
Vanvleet.
Now with Gordon on him. Fred open 3.
Right there. No, they don't. It did not hit the rim, so Vanvleet.
Leva makes both. Vanvleet gets a switch.
Heck of a comeback. That's all I see it as.
Here's Fred 3.
Who's yet to score in this first half. Vanvleet deep.
Guarding one of the toughest players we've seen in today's game.
Fred. Here's Vanvleet. Jumper. 7 minutes to go. Fred turns, fires to Vanvleet. Fred turns, fires 3.
They're playing the zone.
Fred.
Stand. They originally came back home to play 10 or 12.
Second chance points now for Brooklyn. Here's a 3.
Vanvleet from range.
Up the floor, Vanvleet. No call. Siakam toss it to the outside.
No fouls to give either way. Vanvleet, that hard stop and a hit.
Ball. I love that look for them.
Here's Fred.
Mark Dagenham.
It's the exact same spot. Vanvleet. Vanvleet size.
Vanvleet.
Monday, and Trey got dinged up in that Laker game. Missed the contest here. Didn't play in Toronto later that week. Vanvleet.
Beal's got 11 points. Vanvleet, the step back jumper. You know.
Under 8 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter. Vanvleet with it. Off balance.
Vanvleet loses the ball, but it lands right in Birch's hands, and then a long 3 by Vanvleet.
Green on him, a little bit of room.
All right, Mike.
That's good to hear. Jalen has played only
In his second season out of Florida State.
Switches on it. Vanvleet over the 7-footer.
Made it look easy, but that wasn't easy at all.
No,
Nice reverse.
Vanvleet in the corner. Clock down. Fred lets it fly.
shot sitting down from where he is right now, and he shot.
But I don't know if David could have made that shot standing up then.
More against this Toronto team.
And that's Vanvleet now into the front court. Step back three. Yes, he did.
Up tempo, advance the basketball, allow Lonnie to shine.
And Anunoby outlet pass quickly to midcourt where Vanvleet will release. And
I think of when you get Siakam back and Watanabe, that helps you even more, right?
Scoops it to Vanvleet. Vanvleet against Sadiq. Step back, long gun.
Gary Trent Jr. also back in for Toronto.
They're doing a good job of allowing Nick Nurse to steal some minutes because he has 4 fouls.
Fred puts it up, shot.
That means you need someone to rebound for you, and it's usually the
Dylan Smart, Richardson, Langford, and Cantor for Boston. And Fred, three.
And before the game, one of my all-time favorites.
Here's Vanvleet. Boucher, great hustle. Vanvleet saves it. Back over to Chris. Fred lines it up. And
he was even guarding Kevin Durant.
Here's Fred, gets bumped, puts up a 5 to go. Boucher comes over, set a screen. They get the switch, quickly stays there though. Vanvleet. Barnes finds an open Fred. Vanvleet. Kayla Gray, Kate Burness, Sam Mitchell. Top Vanvleet. Here's Fred with a deep three. Over to Kem Birch. Birch sets a screen. They get the switch. And Fred. Fire! Late 10 of the shot clock. OG sets a screen. They get the switch. Harris off. Here's Fred VanVleet. VanVleet now. Change of direction. Gets into the middle.
Fred off the bounce. VanVleet.
Neto trying to stay with him. The step back by VanVleet.
She's always been his biggest fan.
Yes, sir. VanVleet. Thank you, Will, and Ruth will see you guys at halftime. By the way, Siakam has come out. Champagne.
Trent out by the half-court line, and VanVleet ends up being the open
game, and we got a close one here. Let's check in with Dennis.
All right, Grant, you took the words right out of my mouth. Talk to me.
VanVleet for three.
The Williams block. And
the question is, you got to get stops against them.
VanVleet over top. Capella.
So strong lower body. He can switch and muscle people out of there.
196 feet. Drive kick. Fred launches the three.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
Here's Fred, the three.
Outside to VanVleet. Jump shot from the free throw.
VanVleet back into the game. He's got the ball up high. Free ball, Fred VanVleet.
Rookie leader's graphic right there. Going to be special.
Not Dragic, who lives in the weight room, not backing down at all.
Fifth year out of Indiana. Good play. VanVleet for three.
VanVleet, what a matchup against Walker. Finds his spot.
Getting their opportunities to score now.
Here's Fred with a J. Booker, you see Bridges showing double. Miami, Alvin, they've won 9 of 11. The three.
The crowd wanted a double dribble.
Wow.
VanVleet off the glass.
Back we are, and VanVleet right off.
Attacks. Fred, three. Yes! Quickly into the front court and over Vincent.
You got bounce off of 1 or 2 feet. You got a lot of options.
And 27-109, and Kyle with a double-double. Fred with the three.
No, until you watch a guy regularly, and we all knew how good he was.
Well, you know, a couple of things. You know, I was a little bit surprised, because I thought as Fred.
VanVleet wants to do something with this matchup with Williams. A deep three is what he gets.
The year.
VanVleet unimpeded to the rim.
VanVleet, long three.
Shot clock's at 5. VanVleet.
Junior now attacks. Back over to Fred for the top.
We're going to have to resume.
He's heated.
VanVleet, high arc.
When you don't take that baseline shot, that's a sign to me as a player that you're losing confidence in shooting the ball.
15 seconds left. There's the three from VanVleet. It's good.
Schooling at Penn State. Now he's a three-point threat.
Thad Young to VanVleet. Rainbow goes.
Again for Toronto. Great find again. Buck
just played really well. Give them credit.
VanVleet, deep three. Block. Here's a step back.
A little block and tackle for Teo to get his first 2 tonight.
Boy,